Despite a detailed clarification from the military and the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, has doubled down on his attack on Foreign Minister Jaishankar, accusing him effectively of giving away war plans to Pakistan. This just a couple of days before the cross-party delegations are meant to leave for global capitals across the world to present a united Indian face and Indian response to Operation Sindoor. What the hell is going on? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. This is also a day when the army has made an official reveal of what those of us on the ground always suspected. The Golden Temple was directly on the list of targets of Pakistan. Pakistan tried to target this holiest of shrines with missiles and drones. This revelation comes even as a new army video shows that Pakistan may have used the nuclear-capable Shaheen Ballistic Missile against India. Remember, on the 10th of May, hours before a halt in hostilities, the Indian air defense system intercepted a missile in Sirsa, Haryana. Was it the Shaheen Ballistic Missile? We do not know. The video does not elaborate. But the official new video by the army does point to the Shaheen Ballistic Missile, which may have been deployed by Pakistan. And as I mentioned, this is also a day on which the Golden Temple, it is now confirmed, was targeted with missiles and drones both by Pakistan. It is also an unfortunate day. It is a day when Rahul Gandhi has repeated his allegations against Foreign Minister Jaishankar, effectively pointing to a statement that Mr. Jaishankar made where he was referencing India's message to Pakistan at the beginning of the attack. That is, after the precision strikes took place on the terror bases inside Pakistan, sending a message to Pakistan that India was not interested in escalatory action. That's all the Jaish say. Rahul Gandhi has now leapt on that comment and accused Jaishankar of committing a crime and revealing to the Pakistanis before the attacks that these attacks were coming. It is an absolutely unfortunate comment. On Saturday, when Rahul Gandhi made the comment, I actually said that it showed no understanding of military operations and it was a tweet that should come down. Instead of coming down, that tweet has been doubled down on. The Congress has held an entire press briefing on it. To look at all the varied developments in the last 24 hours, let me introduce our very distinguished panel of experts. Tehseen Poonawala, supporter of the Congress Party, supporter of Rahul Gandhi. How will he support what Mr. Gandhi has done today? We'll find out in just a moment. Welcome, Tehseen, to the program. Brigadier Thapar is with us, military veteran. Good to see you, sir. Veteran diplomat, Ambassador Prabhu Dayal is with us. Always good to see you, sir. Welcome to the program. And also joining us is senior journalist Padma Rao, who has spent decades of her life covering geopolitics. It's always good to have you with us. Before we get deep into the politics, which I'm sure we will, it's very important to actually play out for you what the military has said today about the Golden Temple. It is actually a day that should have belonged to this headline, Pakistan's perfidy in trying to target the Golden Temple. But instead, what we're seeing play out everywhere is Rahul Gandhi's attack on Jaishankar, an attack that has been picked up, most unfortunately, by all of the Pakistan media. So I want to return focus to actually what Pakistan tried to do with the Golden Temple. Let's play this out.
Soon after the strikes, we issued a statement clarifying that we intentionally did not target any Pak military or civilian infrastructure. Before the strikes went in, our surveillance, electronic warfare, early warning and air defense assets were suitably deployed. Knowing that Pak army does not have any legitimate targets, we anticipated that he will target Indian military installations, civilian targets, including religious places. Of these, Golden Temple appeared to be the most prominent. We also received credible intelligence that Golden Temple is a prime target, which we had brainstormed earlier. We mobilized additional modern air defense assets to give a holistic air defense umbrella cover to Golden Temple, which is a veritable symbol of nation's syncretic faith. On 8th early morning, in the hours of darkness, Pakistan carried out a massive air assault with unmanned aerial weapons, primarily drones and long-range missiles. We were fully prepared since we had anticipated this, and our brave heart and alert army air defense gunners thwarted Pakistan Army's nefarious designs and shot down all drones and missiles targeted at Golden Temple, thus not allowing even a scratch to come on our holy Golden Temple.
Now, on a day when this should frankly have been the headline, and Pakistan should have been put on the mat for trying to even target the holiest of shrines, not just for Sikhs, but for millions of Indians. Guess what became the headline? What Congress's Pawan Khera said, reinforcing Rahul Gandhi's doubling down in his attack on Foreign Minister Jaishankar.
और उसके बाद जयशंकर इस तरह का बयान दें जो पाकिस्तान में और पूरे देश में, पूरे विश्व में हमारी हंसी उड़ रही है। इसलिए राहुल गांधी बार बार कह रहे हैं कि आप जवाब दीजिए इस फोरवार्निंग से, ये जो आपने पहले ही पाकिस्तान को बता दिया, इससे देश को क्या नुकसान हुआ। यह हमारा लिए जानना बहुत जरूरी है। देश के कितने हवाई जहाज गिरे, देश को क्या नुकसान हुआ और कितने आतंकी बच के भाग गए, यह जानना हम सबके लिए बहुत जरूरी है। आप देश
Let's open this up. We have so much to talk about. There's the politics, there's the geopolitics, and there's the military dimension. I'll start with you, Tehseen. What the hell is going on? Pawan Khera just actually said that the foreign minister leaked the war plans to Pakistan. If you just remove all the sort of BS around it, that's what the Congress is saying. That Jaishankar leaked the war plans to Pakistan. Then he came on camera and he said, "Oh, I leaked it." I mean, it is so rubbishy and so stupid. Sorry, pardon my language. What does it mean? Pakistan media is already going to town with this.
Barkha, thank you so much for having me on the show at the onset. Thank you to Brigadier Thapar for your services to the nation. It's because of people like you that we are safe. So thank you, sir, for your services. There are two issues that you rightly raised, but I want to first rightly raise the issue that's bothered most Indians like me. Because my mom brought it up today, the attack on the Golden Temple. And we know that Pakistan did want to target the Golden Temple. People like me who tweeted about it, and there were others who said about it, were told by Pakistanis, etc., even by some elements within Punjab that this is not true. Now that the army's confirmed it, it just shows what a despicable nation Pakistan is, what a terrorist country it is. There is no distinction between their army and their terrorist outfits, that they decide to target the holiest shrines in our country. And they did this fully well knowing, following Asim Muni's speech, that they wanted to create division between the majority community and the minorities, be it Muslims, Sikhs, etc. So Pakistan is doing this repeatedly. Now coming to the second and more pertinent issue that you raised about what the Congress is taking up as an issue. And, I'm a Congress voter, I do support the party. But quite frankly, I think that the communication needs to change completely. There are two aspects here. What happened on the night of May 6th leading into the morning of May 7th is unprecedented in modern aircraft warfare. And Barkha, you follow the army and you understand something about warfare along with my esteemed panelists here. The best of Western technology which we possess, the best of Chinese technology which Pakistan possess, a dogfight that the world hasn't seen, 1.5 hours of tense battles, and within a 30-second range that we got, 24 missiles, all 24 hitting the targets, destroying the 9 targets that we got, and our Air Force pilots, brave hearts, coming back without a single casualty and destroying what we set out to do. We've achieved what we wanted. We've achieved our objectives. And this too without seeding. We did not seed there. We did not do seeding. We did not suppress the enemy air defense systems. The next day, we got the Lahore air defense out. And then, of course, we hit Pakistan at Noor Khan and other places. And Pakistan was rattled at will. So I think this is tremendous. Our Air Force has said we've lost no pilots. And I think this is tremendous success for Operation Sindoor. If and all there is some materialistic casualty, and I mean about machines, etc., I think at an appropriate time, the Parliamentary Committee on Defense can discuss it, or maybe in the special session of Parliament, it can be brought up. I don't think, and I understand politics, I'm a guy of the ground, I don't think the nation really cares if a machine is lost as long as my human beings have come back, my human capital has come back. Correct. Pardon me, I'm not an expert. I understand people's pulses. So if a machine is lost here or there, a gun, a helicopter or a plane, even if it is, I don't know if it is not as important as my Air Force brave hearts coming back home or my soldiers coming back home. I think that is much more in importance for the nation, and we achieved our objective. Remember that. So both of that is combined. And there is no doubt in anyone's mind in the world that DGMO Pakistan called up DGMO India asking for a ceasefire. That's where the matter ends. What we gained materialistically, lost materialistically, I think can be reviewed at another date. I do believe, however, the External Affairs Minister could have articulated his statement better. But we all know that what he was trying to say was simply this, that after the sixth night, seventh morning, we hit those targets, we put it out to the world to know that we didn't hit any military installation so as to give Pakistan an off ramp, so as not to escalate it, which Pakistan did, so as to calm tempers down. We were very clear in what we did. Um, Obviously, we were prepared for their hit back. Therefore, we got all their drones and the missiles, and none of them hit except one or two, unfortunately, at Firozpur, etc. So I think we must let some things pass, not bringing that up in public domain. Forget the morality of it for a moment. Even politically, in my opinion, again, I'm not a military expert, it'll harm the Congress party, is my opinion. I hope they don't take it wrong, because I know certain people who are calling up and asking about me.
Tehseen, I heard most of what you said. I just dropped off for a second because of technology issues. But what I gather is that you don't agree with Rahul Gandhi's doubling down. Rahul Gandhi made a mistake on Saturday and he should have quietly backed off. Would that be a fair summary?
I think he could have articulated it better, saying that what the Honorable External Affairs Minister's bite sounds like could be misrepresented. So let's just let this go. I think he could have done this, but even better so if it would have been done in the in the Parliamentary Committee of Defense, of which he's a member, or he could have summoned the Air Force Chief and asked him questions privately, or he could have sought in a meeting with the External Affairs Minister and clarified. That would have slightly been better optics, number one. But I do believe firmly that those around Mr. Gandhi are absolutely letting down the Congress party. I believe this as a voter, as a very strong voter, as somebody who's all his life spent his resources, his time, his energy voting for this party. I think those who can't win an election in their own family, forget in their own society building, are the ones who are letting him down. And I think that's not a fair thing to do to him.
So you're saying Rahul Gandhi is being let down by his advisors. You're not willing to frontally blame him. But let's open this up because there's a lot to discuss. What Rahul Gandhi is doing, how the BJP is responding, the politics that is now blowing up around these delegations. Mamta Banerjee has now said that the centre can't decide who we said. Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari were not in the names released by the Congress. And now the Congress is saying Jaishankar leaked the war plans. I'm literally holding my head because this wonderful country of ours that stayed so united through the toughest days seems to have now entered some sort of silly season. I don't understand it. Ambassador Dayal, your thoughts, as we head into global capitals, we live in a globalized world. Pakistan media is already picking up on Mr. Gandhi is saying, I know you're not a politician, but this is going to hurt our messaging.
Well, Barkha, I am disappointed that there are divisions which are so openly emerging in the political spectrum. At a time like this, I was hoping that we stay united and that all political parties come together and back whatever the government is trying to do to control the aggression which is coming from the other side and give a befitting reply. Now, if there is a division, that is only exploited by the Pakistanis. I must say that I was very impressed with some of the opposition figures like Asaduddin Owaisi, who strongly supported what the government said, and this was the need of the hour. And I think on its part, the government has also tried to take the opposition along with it, because this delegation, which is going to so many countries and the European Union, has so many prominent opposition leaders. In fact, Shashi Tharoor, who's a Congress MP, would be leading a delegation which goes to the United States and some other cities. Now, the point is, the division in our political spectrum only helps the Pakistanis. And they have exploited it. They are now coming forward more aggressively with their claims that they had downed AWACS and they had downed other sort of military weaponry that we had used. And they are basing it on the fact that the Indian side has said that, the foreign minister had given out advance information and that helped them. The Pakistanis are using this to further cause divisions in our side. So I think that it is a very, very necessary, as Mr. Poonawalla himself said, that the political leaders from across the spectrum should stay united. because
But the
disunity.
genie's out of the bottle, sir. On Saturday it may have been, we were doing a show, and Padma spotted Rahul Gandhi's tweet, and we all went pretty ballistic, to borrow from the terminology of the times, and we thought, okay, chalo, the MEA has explained, the MEA has rebutted him today, the DGMO statement has been released, it'll now be buried. But he's doubled down on it. He is basically saying India's foreign minister is guilty of treason. How else does one read this tweet?
Well, I think it is time that he tones down the rhetoric and talks about other things. I think the best subject to talk about would be the fact that the danger from Pakistan has not ended, and there is a need for India to gear up to any prospects of the attacks which could come from Pakistan. Terrorism from Pakistan has not come to an end. We may have put a stop to it for some time, but this menace will continue. And I think political leaders must speak on those sort of subjects and avoid disunity in their ranks.
Brigadier Thapar, let's bring you in, right? Like, as I was saying, on this day, the Golden Temple being the target, this being officially confirmed, the possibility that Pakistan used a nuclear-capable ballistic missile, was that aimed at Delhi? What was the missile intercepted in Sirsa? What is Trump up to? This is what we should be talking about. What are we talking about? Some nonsense allegations. Sorry, I have no vested interest in either political party. Neither of them particularly like me. That's just fine. That's how it should be for a journalist. My point is, as a person who reports on the military, loves the military, this is showing that there is zero understanding of how a military op takes place. The DGMOs are talking. The DGMO himself has said, after the attack, in the wake of these strikes on the terror camps, I told my counterpart, we won't escalate if you don't. He's on record, the DGMO. Brigadier Thapar, ye kya ho raha hai?
I was discussing this before you joined us. I was discussing this off the air with Tehseen. As a good veteran, I'll stay away from the political part of it. All I can say is, at this moment, Rahul is probably behaving like an unguided missile, and he needs to be directed to this thing. It is not done. The nation is not expecting this from him, nor from any political party. But coming to the other part of Pakistan targeting Golden Temple and those implications, I don't think that's a topic of the discussion. But if it is, you can come back to me.
No, please. Please, sir, it's all happening together. Okay. I can't separate. You see, here's the situation we're in. The geopolitics, the politics, and the military aspects are all happening together. I cannot put them in any neat compartments. They're all happening together. So please go ahead and talk about the Golden Temple being a target.
Barkha,
yes.
If this news had been given by one of those channels, which I'm talking about,
Correct.
I wouldn't have believed it, frankly.
Correct.
I would have said this is like the Karachi port capture and other things. But the fact that General Shishadri, who incidentally happens to be my student from Staff College, he said it because it defied logic. Pakistan is looking to win over the Sikhs to spread that Khalistan movement. It does not want to annoy the Sikhs. And targeting Golden Temple deliberately or accidentally would have annoyed the Sikhs. Secondly, if there was not a war, it would have started a war. No way Indian Prime Minister could have sat down if Vaishno Devi or Golden Temple was hit. And so I wouldn't have believed it, but General Shishadri, who incidentally is the GOC of that division, where my daughter-in-law and my grandson are staying, even right now as I talk. I know him personally, so I know what he's done there. So when he speaks, he knows the business. Golden Temple comes under him, and he would have the inside details of how they did that and what happened exactly.
Can I share a story? Can I share a story? When I was in Punjab, and all of you, if you could listen to me for just 2 minutes, I was driving in a blackout from Punjab towards Jammu, and we started getting news of these explosions, both in thank you. So when I was driving from Punjab towards the Jammu border, from Amritsar to be precise, I just left Amritsar and I was going to the Jammu border. And in Amritsar also there were explosions, in Jammu also there were explosions. So we got a journalist friend of mine online, and I couldn't switch my camera on because we were in a blackout. My journalist friend is a Sikh. And one of the things he said was, he said, we thought Pakistan will never target the Sikhs, either for the reasons of trying to court the Khalistanis, or because, they try and show कि देखो Sikh pilgrims के visas हमने cancel नहीं किए. But today they have shown that even a place which is our Vatican, his point was, he said, ये हमारा Vatican है. He said there is so much anger in the Sikhs right now today, just that Amritsar was targeted. That time we didn't know that Golden Temple was a specific targeted. But he said the fact that Amritsar is being targeted in this way, it has made the Sikhs here livid. I just wanted to share that anecdote. Sorry, go ahead, Brigadier.
See, Amritsar cantonment, where I have lived, and my daughter-in-law and my grandsons live, it's just 20 kilometers from the border. The artillery can hit it. Now, Golden Temple, as you know, is an old Amritsar. 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer radius all around is the town. The people are staying there. The markets. Any targeting of that collateral damage would have been immense. So, somebody stupid would have to do it, but well, Pakistanis are. Now, coming to the launching of Shaheen missile, I think there is a genuine thing. We targeted Noor Khan airfield, which is heart of Pakistan, not only Punjab but Pindi, and their nuclear assets, their command control. If we had knocked that off, Asim Munir couldn't have taken off in his chopper also anywhere. So I thought that was the Shaheen which they launched was probably meant for Palam, the technical area part of it, the Air Force part of it, and that's a reasonable guess. And we took it down en route. Probably if it had come, it could have hit. So maybe they were sending a message by hitting Palam. So that could have been possible, though I can't say for certain.
So, but you feel like now that our army has shown the Shaheen missile in the video released today, you feel that missile that was intercepted in Sirsa, Haryana, may have been targeted at Palam Airport in Delhi.
Absolutely. If what else is there en route? It's already crossed the military installations, which are close to the border. So it's come behind. So obviously this guy had a target at some distance when it was brought down.
So look at Padma where we are. We have a situation where a nuclear-capable ballistic missile may have been targeted at the airport in Delhi, in the national capital. We have a statement from the general officer commanding in the Amritsar area saying on record, and Brigadier Thapar is right, I would never have said this till this was official, but it's official now, so I'm saying it, that the Golden Temple was a target and had to be, and was targeted with both missiles and drones, not just drones. And we have a situation where Rahul Gandhi is saying things that are just helping the Pakistanis. And again, I'm not one of those who dishes out national and anti-national certificates on this program. I don't believe in all that. But I have no idea why he's doing this. And he's doing this 2 days in a row. And look at the two things we should have been talking about vis-a-vis Pakistan today. Padma.
Barkha, we were talking earlier on about, I completely agree with you. This is the story. You and I are off the media, and this is the story. This should have remained in the headlines. Instead, what it shows, the fact that Rahul Gandhi is dominating the discourse in the media also shows that there seems to be little unity even amongst the media. Why focus on this instead of the Golden Temple? That would be my submission here. And also, I think the Congress has been on the path of harakiri for a while. So frankly, any of us in the media, and ordinarily we should have ignored it. Now the TMC also seems to be on that path. It's highly foolish to not send Yusuf Pathan and to question why, and then also to question why does BJP have the choice of choosing the delegations. Look, I may not, entirely agree with the BJP's choice and method of forming the delegations, and I'll come to that in a moment if I may. But, of course it is the BJP's choice. It's a ruling party and it is the one behind the idea of the delegations. So obviously it's going to choose who it wants on that thing. Now to Tehseen, I just had one small point. Tehseen, I don't think there is a better articulator than Jaishankar, since you said that it could have been articulated it better. And certainly this is not directed against you, but the Congress, simply cannot. It's a question of the Congress pot calling the BJP kettle black. Speaking of poor communication, I think the Congress, and particularly Rahul Gandhi, happens to be a prime example at this moment. Now, Barkha, coming to the delegations again, which we are planning to send, I do have a few very small important points, if I may. I support the idea behind sending these delegations as long as they have to show up Pakistan through the ample evidence we have, such as the latest one, as the motherboard of terrorism. And I hope we're not going to go there to try and explain, or dare I say, even apologize for India's actions, but I don't think they will do that. Now, however, it is my humble submission, I don't think that much will change. The world already has plenty of evidence of its own. Osama bin Laden found in Pakistan, etc. That has not has changed nothing in the case of Pahalgam, because white foreigners were not attacked. Period. I'm sorry to sound like an inverted racist, but I've spent long enough working with Western media. Now, I also have some other reservations specifically about the delegations. As you know, there are these 6 groups that have been announced. I'm always wary of groups comprising largely of politicians, whether of various parties or not, because each one will tend to try and cock a snook at each other, as you're seeing right now, even before the delegations leave, at least by the time they're back. Now, I'm even more suspicious when such delegations embark on world tours just before the onset of Delhi's summer. It's an old familiar pattern, and despite the current situation, the word junket automatically springs to mind. Then there's another very tired old habit of both all Indian governments and the MEA, and that is to send Muslims to Muslim countries. Frankly, I think there are so many Muslim countries in the world which understand, even if they may not openly accept India's position, more than Western industrialized countries who are the erstwhile colonial masters. Two small last points. So this tokenism, as I see it, is overriding the whole purpose of the exercise. It's a jaded attempt to demonstrate India's secular character. So each of these 6 delegations has one token Muslim involved. This kind of selection is too obvious. And just 2 last small points. Most annoying is that amongst these token Muslims are some of the best diplomatic brains that this country has seen. These diplomats have already spent their careers being ambassadors mostly in other Muslim countries, not in what are considered the plum postings. These are the people who have who have experience dealing
I
with
think
the
that
global
last,
government.
I want to pick up the last point for Ambassador Dayal and also to Tehseen.
Yeah.
But I just want to make one comment, which is not the focus of this show, but really 2 things that should not have happened have happened. One is the BJP Madhya Pradesh minister who used a communal slur against Colonel Sufia Qureshi. The Supreme Court said to him today, the entire country is ashamed of you. I think it's worth highlighting that. And the second is the arrest of an Ashoka University professor for a social media post, Professor Mahmoodabad, because his comments were seen to be anti the women. I think you can disagree or agree with Mahmoodabad, but there is really no basis to arrest him. I'm making these points because all of these things matter in global messaging and really could have been handled more swiftly and differently, according to me. But let's come back to this Muslims to Muslim countries. Ambassador Dayal, I think this is something that you would be well placed to respond on. That you send an Asaduddin Owaisi, even if you deploy a politician, you make his remit large parts of the Muslim world. Padma has a problem with that. Is it real politic? Is it natural, or is it undermining him?
Well, I think it is an attempt to reach out to Muslim countries and their governments by showcasing a prominent Indian politician who's in the opposition, who's a Muslim, and who is vocal about whatever India has done and is projecting it as the right sort of action. I think the step is well intended. Now, there is, of course, a very deliberate and long established attempt to reach out to Muslim countries by sending Muslims as ambassadors. Now, incidentally, I have learned Arabic. I started off in Egypt. I served also in Pakistan and Iran, Muslim countries, Consul General Dubai. I was ambassador Kuwait, ambassador Morocco. I wanted to go to Saudi Arabia as ambassador, which is the heartland of the Islamic world. But our Minister of State was Mr. E. Ahmad, who was from the Muslim League. He said, no, my party will not like it. My party will not allow it. I thought that that sort of an attitude was not good. India is a secular country. All the European countries and United States, all that, they send non-Muslims as ambassadors to Saudi Arabia. So what was wrong in sending a non-Muslim from here? But you would notice that all Indian ambassadors to Saudi Arabia are Muslims, whether they are serving diplomats or they are taken from the outside world. So this attempt to reach out to Muslim countries through a Muslim member of parliament also is in line with whatever generally government thinks, that the Muslim countries are more receptive to things which are said by another Muslim from India, for instance. Now, let me say a few words about this Golden Temple issue. You know, you would recall that on the 9th of May, the Pakistanis had targeted some gurdwaras, some temples, and churches. There was damage. In fact, in Poonch, I think there was considerable damage, and the head of the Gurdwara died. Now, I don't rule it out that the Pakistanis had it in their mind to attack the Gurdwara in Amritsar, the Golden Temple. Now, if you recall that when they carried out the attack on the Gurdwara on the 9th of May, the Pakistanis said that this was done by the Indian side itself. They blamed the attack on India. Of course, we dismissed it. We said it is crazy. This sort of logic just doesn't hold. But had the Golden Temple been attacked by the Pakistanis, they would have tried to put the blame again on India, because they are always trying to divide Sikhs and Hindus. And there would have been some people who would have fallen for the Pakistani propaganda. There's no doubt about it. So I don't rule it past, whatever.
Yeah, I think there, to Brigadier Thapar's point, that why would they do it? They would do it because then they would try and blame India and create divisions within the Sikh community, I think, is the suggestion that Ambassador Dayal is making.
And they've done it. They've done it earlier.
And they've done it in the past, yes. And the fact is that debris did come down on a temple in Jammu, on a Gurdwara in Poonch. Let's take you back again. This is one of the more unstructured programs I've done, but that's the nature of news. It is all happening together. So I want to bring you back to the politics. I'm going to play out Nalin Kohli's statement, and I want you to respond to it. Nalin Kohli of the BJP, reacting to what Rahul Gandhi is saying. While we know that the Shaheen Ballistic Missile was used, Brigadier Thapar says possibly targeted at Palam. We now have the army saying the Golden Temple was targeted. And here is Rahul Gandhi droning on, excuse the pun, about, Jaishankar giving away war plans. Take a look at what Nalin Kohli had to say.
It is unfortunate and very regrettable that the Congress party and its senior-most leadership, including Mr. Rahul Gandhi, several leaders, have often chosen to disregard what our armed forces say and instead raise or ask questions of them or the government. They asked for proof and evidence and questioned the surgical strike. They questioned Balkot. Now they are raising questions on Operation Sindoor. Now it is for the Congress party and Mr. Rahul Gandhi to decide whom do they have more faith on. Do they have faith on what Government of India says? Or do they believe the words of what is said in Pakistan and ask the same questions of Government of India? So it is really for them to explain on which side they are, or who are they really asking these questions for, and what purpose do they hope to serve from it.
That is the BJP's Nalin Kohli. Tehseen, you are well placed to answer this question, not only because you're a Congress supporter who believes Rahul Gandhi is ill-advised, but because one of your criticisms of the Congress has always been that it has lost its centrist moorings, right? It has forgotten its history as the original nationalist party. It has forgotten that it was the party of Indira Gandhi that helped birth Bangladesh, and so on. These are points you've made. And you've often talked about the loony left capture of the Congress. But here's the problem. When Rahul Gandhi is leading the assault, who do you blame? Who do you blame when Rahul Gandhi himself is personally leading the assault? And two, who are these advisors, according to you, who are asking him to make these posts?
So, Barkha, before I come to that, just let me say that the attack on the Golden Temple was done for the simple reason that Pakistan did want to show, and it did lead this narrative, that India itself, and it said this officially, Pakistan, that India is attacking Amritsar, and you know this. So they actually said that. So the whole game plan of Pakistan was to attack Amritsar and then to show that it was done by India. Now that we foiled that, that is important. And Pakistan actually escalated this to a very high extent, because the minute I condemn and I commend our government here to keep a cool head, because the minute if I'm in government and I see a ballistic missile heading towards my country, I would presume it's a nuclear warhead, even if it's not. And I would respond with a fire never seen before. So the government actually kept a cool head. If I'm in government, I wouldn't do that. I would give the nuclear command, because the ballistic missiles targeted to my country, I would assume it has a nuclear warhead. That's point number one. As much as the lefties now will hate me, that's the way I operate. Now let's come to the larger issue at sorry. And to Padma, I think these delegations are a great way of taking forward, because we have to show the world that India is a functioning democracy. Yes, we have flaws. All democracies are works in progress. But please understand, it is important, even if you consider them to be symbolic Muslims, to be there, because the narrative is that, listen, Muslims are not happy in India. That's the narrative that Pakistan is selling to the world. Therefore, it is important that that narrative is broken, even if it's symbolically. Why do you have symbolically a woman at some post or the other? Because eventually the narrative then takes place, or say a transgender, or say somebody else. So it's symbolically that you put that across.
I think Padma has a 30-second interjection before we come back to Rahul Gandhi. Padma, interjection. Padma.
Tehseen, that goes without saying. Of course, I'm all for the delegations, as I said right in the beginning. I'm only talking about the composition. I do have a few more points to make on the delegations, but I'll return when it's my turn. So back to you, Tehseen.
Okay, Tehseen, go ahead. Let's come back to Mr. Gandhi and this loony left capture. And the only reason, to Padma's point, why are we talking about it? You see, here's what's going to happen. Pakistan channels are going to pick this up. They're going to bring the focus back on these so-called planes, fallen, not fallen, we don't know. We'll wait for our Air Force to tell us. One thing the Air Force has said is, all our pilots came home. That they have said. For the rest, we'll give them time. What's the hurry? It's a war. There are going to be losses. That's what Air Marshal Bharti said. And let's wait. Let's wait. I don't think we're like the Pakistan military that refused to take. I don't think, I know that the military that we are, we buried the Pakistanis with, we did their last strike in the Kargil war. We are not going to, hide anything. We have said our pilots came home, and that's the most important thing. So this is the reason why, unfortunately, much as I'd like to ignore this Rahul Gandhi conversation and talk about Shaheen and Golden Temple, here we are. So Tehseen, do go ahead.
So you're right, Barkha. In India, it's not possible to hide military or Air Force or Navy deaths, because even if you try to do it, the family will be on the streets and everyone will cover it.
And it's not the ethos of our military.
And it's not the ethos of our country. We have never done it. We didn't do it in the India-China war. We've never done it. We won't do it. That's period how India is. We are a civilian democracy. The army is answerable, and we don't do it. That's how our military structure. So as long as our heroes are back home, the machinery doesn't matter, period. I think that at this particular point of time, there are those who are misguiding the party, because there was genuine concern in India with regards to certain issues. The sudden ceasefire, President Trump trying to take credit for it, Marco Rubio saying that, listen, India has agreed to a third-party mediation in any neutral country on all issues, Trump hyphenating India and Pakistan. Now, these are very, very valid issues where ambassadors and diplomats like Sir on our channel could have raised that and taken that up beautifully. So those are valid concerns for the opposition to raise at the right time. And those must be raised, because the country wants answer to those. But when you come back to the point that, listen, maybe this is militarily some side of a helping Pakistan out, a quid pro quo, it's not going to work out. Even politically, it won't work.
Correct.
And the perception is that the Congress or the opposition is again playing against the government. Now, I'll give you two more examples. What today with Yusuf Pathan, Mamta Banerjee, ma'am, Yusuf Pathan put that tweet out, was in terrible taste. They don't have the common sense of how to take this forward. Yesterday, Sanjay Raut's bite, calling this tourism, it is terrible. And unfortunately, the opposition that stood so unitedly with the government perceptionally is falling back. Yes, there are many in the BJP who made terrible statements. The minister, the deputy chief minister of Madhya Pradesh, all of them. But here, these people in the opposition are not helping their cause. And on the pitch of nationalism, it's very difficult to beat the BJP. So if I was those in the Congress and I was advising Mr. Gandhi, I would do two things. I would say, listen, we have two of our finest people who've represented India, Dr. Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari, with gravitas. They are congressmen. This is the line of the Congress. And we would cooperate and support the government. Whatever else the government needs of us, we are ready to do. And we would request the government that, like we've supported, even in other times, the government reach out to the opposition. We are there to help the government. That's it. And you end it there. Let the government make its move, support the government. Play that move. I would have different names on that list. I don't want to reveal my name. But my list would have had Shashi Tharoor and Manish Tiwari and two more names which would have actually made great political sense.
Which ones are those? Reveal them.
Anand Sharma, for reasons the Congress knows best, would have him, and I don't have a dispute with him. He does have a lot of knowledge. No, he does, and let's give him credit.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I may not agree with his politics, but he does have good knowledge in that. I would have put Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, and that would have given the Congress an edge. But then that's for the Congress to decide. If you would have had Anand Sharma ji, Shashi Tharoor ji, Manish Tiwari ji, and Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, the government now would not be able to reject those names. It would give the Congress credit, and you would have played the ball better, and you would have now put the ball in the government's court.
But it's an interesting idea. I have to go to the others, but just to leave you with one thought, Tehseen, and we'll come back for last comments. It's an interesting disruptive idea that the Congress name should have included Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, but then Priyanka Gandhi can't be on the delegation if Rahul Gandhi is simultaneously accusing the minister of giving away war plans. So there is a little bit of a
वो नहीं होना चाहिए ना, वो तो होना ही नहीं चाहिए ना,
हाँ, correct,
वो बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए, वो खत्म
we all agree on that, but let's see if the Congress does. Brigadier Thapar, and then let's start taking last comments. Brigadier Thapar, where are we going from here? Our big unity message, I hope we can still kind of focus on that. It matters. That's the country we are. That's the country we should be. Where do we go from here?
It does matter, and I hope a better sense comes to the people that matter. Since the entire thing is on political, I'll not say except my comment which I made before you joined us. Koi lauta de wo bichde hue din when the politicians, they fought publicly, but outside they were on back thumping terms and hugging each other and having. We seem to have lost. Today they are enemies in the parliament. Out of it, they are worse. And on TV shows, if the anchor was not there, it probably would have torn each other apart.
Yeah.
So I wish we come back to those civilized way politicians behave.
Can I ask you to comment on the military point that Tehseen raised, that that the government, as it intercepted, and you believe that the Shaheen may have been directed at Palam, that cooler heads did prevail. We have to sort of assess it through that lens.
No, I have tremendous respect for Tehseen as a spokesman, but I do not think the second day of at that time it was skirmish, though when we discussed it on your show, I called it as good as war. I don't think any country would have used nuclear weapons on day 2 or 3.
Correct.
It is just, you cannot comprehend that kind of insanity, even with Pakistan war. It won't have, it would have, once use your entire arsenal of weapons before you descend onto nuclear.
No, we are not saying that they used a nuclear warhead. We are saying that muscle flexing. I think Tehseen will speak for himself.
But
that kind of flex,
having an apprehension itself that this could be nuclear, and what I understood of what Tehseen said, that it could have been nuclear, and we reacted very calmly. Well, any sane person would have said nuclear nahi ho sakta, a normal missile hai, we will target it that way.
Okay, Tehseen, very briefly, and then Ambassador Dayal and Padma, closing comments. Yeah, Tehseen?
Again, I have a lot of respect for you, Brigadier, but look, I'm in government. I'm not going to take a risk that it could or cannot be nuclear. Once it's a missile that could carry a nuclear warhead, my presumption would be it is nuclear, because I can't risk that Delhi is hit with a nuclear weapon and then I respond. So I commend the government for being so calm and listening to experts like you. I clearly am not. But I am saying this, that I would not take that risk of my citizens being hit by a nuclear warhead. That's all I'm saying. And therefore, Pakistan tremendously escalated this by leaving a missile that is possible of carrying a nuclear warhead. And that is irreprehensible, that is disgusting, and that is shameless. And I think these MPs must put that across to the world, that it carried a weapon that could possibly have a nuclear warhead, and India kept calm and gave them an off-ramp. That is a huge favor that India did the world, because Pakistan's escalated this to another level. I wouldn't have been so calm or so non-reactive.
Okay, Brigadier Thapar,
for that matter, even BrahMos can carry a nuclear warhead.
Yeah,
I'm sure, but they started it, so I ended it.
All right. I think we have to sort of look at the big picture. Where are we going from here, right? One thing that I want to say or ask of all of you, and I'll start with you, Padma, and I'll give the closing word to Ambassador Dayal. Usually in the past, we've had coercive diplomacy in the military. If you look at Parakram, military is mobilized, never used. After 2611, military is not used. Here, diplomacy has leveraged military gains. But we have found ourselves standing alone quite often in the last 2 weeks. Let's talk a little bit about that. Padma and then Ambassador Dayal.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad you brought that up, Barkha, because that would have been my point. I was going back to the two very important points I wanted to make on the delegations. What seems missing now, I would ideally like to see retired armed forces personnel, obviously the ones who are on duty cannot speak, who are or in service, who are articulate, and there are plenty of them to be included in these delegations, or perhaps eventually sent on separate missions to liaise with their counterparts, especially in the NATO, for instance, of which Turkey, Pakistan supporter and collaborator is a member. So, certainly, I do agree that I would like to see an enhanced role for retired military personnel in these delegations. And one last and very extremely important point on delegations, and a last word on Rahul Gandhi. You know, in the formation of these delegations, Barkha, we seem to be stuck in a time warp in which nothing seems to have changed. The world has changed. Several new generations have been born and grown older. Only we seem stuck in a groove. This is the digital era of influencers. Unfortunately, currently there's a shadow over the, over influencers, given this woman who's been arrested. But this is the era of reels, of shorts, of quick bursts of messages, of Generation Z. So messaging should be, these are, if you like, the weapons of mass instruction today, if you like. And our messaging should be mounted on those tools. Generation Z must be roped in. Instead, I welcome the delegations, Tessin, but we are sticking to the age-old, tried and tested and never succeeded method of sending politicians on summer junkets, if you pardon the expression. Now, the MEA itself is full of such young brains. We don't need to look very far.
Isn't that unfair to call it a junket? I mean, this is done in the aftermath of a war.
Sure. With my tongue firmly in cheek, what I mean is that, since I don't expect much to come out of tried and tested methods, now what I'm saying is that the Ministry of External Affairs is itself full of Generation Z, bright young people. They should reinvent this whole kind of program and this old-fashioned style of messaging, and leave no stone unturned, spare no expense to launch, these energetic. Last point, please. Last point. Yeah.
Okay.
So now the last point on Rahul Gandhi, I think his outrageous remarks make it very clear to us what we've always known. The minute there is a candidate who is more popular or better in any way and every way than Rahul Gandhi, the Congress goes into a kind of a cytokine storm. And that is what is happening now. And most surprising and saddening of all is to see even veteran Congress politicians of the kind of era that Brigadier Thapar was referring to joining into this, into this farce.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Ambassador Dayal, and I think Tehseen wants a quick last word after that. Ambassador Dayal,
Well,
the power
as
of the
far as
delegations. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I would like to see a roadmap for the future. That's the most important thing. We are spending a lot of time bickering amongst ourselves, society, politicians, but it is very important to put in place an agenda for action. Now, Pakistan is not going to change. Their hatred for us will continue. They will try to inflict damage on us. There may be a decline in the sort of terrorist activity for some time, but sooner or later it will pick up again. So we have to gear ourselves up to counter that effectively. Now, there is no doubt that we need to step up the level of our military preparedness. That is the biggest deterrent. And I think the country has to spend whatever it takes. If it means that we have to tighten the belt in other areas, we have to do that. If taxes have to be increased, let them be, as long as the money goes for defense spending.
Yeah.
There is no alternative to that. And believe me, we have to do it alone. If we expect countries to come to our aid and to work with us and support us, it's not going to happen. We are in this all by ourselves, and we have to be thoroughly prepared to take on the menace from Pakistan, which, as I said earlier, is not going to end. The roadmap for the future consists of devising strategies to make our defense preparedness and our aggression capability
Okay.
more and more effective.
Okay, I have to close. Tehseen, you had a quick closing comment. Yeah, Tehseen.
No, to Padma, I just want to say, uh, with tongue in cheek, Padma, firmly my tongue in my cheek. Do you want to say that we should make reels and we have Barkha's friend and my brother Ranveer make reels or others make reels about what's happening? Jokes apart, how do you one second, Padma, how do you ensure that the concerned gentleman in say Saudi Arabia or wherever sees that reel? So I think you can have the reels and the one thing, Padma, you can have the reels and the soft power, but to actually reach out to the concerned person, sit him or her down, and to explain India's position as men of gravitas like Dr. Tharoor or the ambassador out here, Mr. Dayal would do, I think is of importance rather than reels. Reels have their place, but you don't know that somebody is watching that reel.
Okay, I
Excuse
really
me,
have
may
to
I
close
just
now.
quickly, may I just quickly respond to that? Look, I am not against the delegations at all. I made that very clear right in the beginning. I was only talking about what the composition of these delegations from the little information we have received so far seems to me being a child of the 70s. That's all. And the point about reels and etc. That was supposed to be an additional, a supplemental move to the delegations, which I don't see, or at least I'm not familiar that
Okay.
whether we're doing that or not. So all I'm saying is the campaigns have to be multi-pronged. That's what I'm saying. And I completely agree with Ambassador Dayal. Despite doing all this, we are on our own. That is the premise on which we have to go. And we have to go out there aggressively, basically not to explain ourselves, but to show the world, show Pakistan up for the motherboard of terrorism that it really is, with ample proof, which we, very evidently have through today's revelations from the armed forces.
I think let's end with that. A day when when the army has said on record that Pakistan tried to target unsuccessfully the Golden Temple with drones and missiles, and when the army has indicated, not said, that Pakistan probably used a Shaheen Ballistic Missile, nuclear capable, not saying it was nuclear armed, just nuclear capable, and it was intercepted successfully. Brigadier Thapar finds that second bit entirely plausible and thinks it may have even been targeted at Palam Airport in Delhi. Let that sink in, and let us not hopefully get distracted by partisan party politics, which is really not what we need at this very, I would say, sobering moment. Despite the triumph of Operation Sindoor, neither is the operation over and nor is Pakistan's perfidy. Thank you, Ambassador Dayal, Brigadier Thapar, Tehseen, Padma, and to our audience. See you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.